Well, Fortune 500 companies talk about it. It's almost like a needle in a haystack, though, because you're competing with all the other companies. So they're retiring and they're going through this transition process. And I was talking to them, I was like, I want to get directly to the fleet folks. But the billets don't transfer over very easily, so it's hard to see it. But at Verizon, and Ken was very supportive of it as well. I think I hired 4 people who were retiring out of the military. And what I asked the lady who oversees hiring your heroes, the nonprofit, was we also have a shortage of mechanics. And I was like, how do I get, because the program was focused on they had degrees and everything. I said, all right, they're professionals, but mechanics are professionals. And you have a lot of technicians working on very sophisticated equipment. How do we help them transition? So maybe there's a bridge where this can go bigger than the Navy for you, across all of the selective services.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is what we are doing, Herb, right now. Can you believe it doesn't exist? And
Yeah.
if I wasn't teaching that class at NAFA, and if we wouldn't have gotten the contract, it just so happened like it just was a fluke. Our champion is retiring, and he mentioned the skill bridge, and he was saying how he like there's no fleet manager role. I was like, are you kidding me? He said no, and so then I confirmed it. And this is the beauty of it, Herb, is that before this partnership with the Air Force, you know, the reason that this all happened was because of our NAFA conference where one of their airmen came by and did a demo at our booth and loved it. And that's how all this came about. And
Yeah. I think there's a bit of awareness now. This is hard. So this will require some interpersonal skills. It requires some relationship building because folks, even if they're only in the military, only in for 4 years there, and the retired ones after 20 years, a master sergeant, they were in command, of thousands of people, billions of dollars worth of equipment, and they are great leaders in the military. So they'll have to recognize that that great leadership does not just straight translate over into the civilian world. That there needs to be awareness that you'll have to change because the military program and the rules don't exist outside of the military. So helping them recognize that there is a need to not change who you are, but adjust your approach to get the same results. The same approach you made you successful in the military will find you out of a job in 6 months in the civilian side, especially at large companies that do this. And they all struggle with, hey, he's too strong-willed, he's too direct, they're too this, they're too that. So I think there needs to be an awareness that there needs to be a change, and any way you can show an examples or have format in the best way to connect with military is to have military. So when I hired military folks, I partnered them with someone who'd been successful that was also in the military. And if it's the same branch, because it doesn't make sense. I'm a civilian. Now, I didn't serve in the military, but I worked for the federal government. People need to hear it from a peer, from someone that they already trust. A Marine will hear it from another Marine, not someone who was never not a Marine. So you got to partner them with folks because they'll say, yeah, we struggled with this, we struggled with that. So a lot of them, the big companies at least have veteran ERGs, employee resource groups. Some of the smaller companies do not. But if you could bridge that community, are created to this program you're creating, that you have an ally, and your ally is not just this know-it-all person who had never been in the war zone or having to deal with the rigors of being in the military. I think that would be a huge help, and there are many of them that want to do it. So, and whether you're civilian, especially on the civilian side, or even if you were in the military before, partnering with someone who's recently came out and transitioned in the last couple of years would be helpful to their success.
man, Herb, two quick, I know we're out of time. Two quick things. So there is a fear of the retiring Air Force and military folks coming into civilian, which is why this whole skill bridge program exists to begin with, because you're right. It's different and they have to re-engage in civilian life to get used to it. But then you mentioned something else about this partnership, being able to connect with someone who already made the transition successfully. And Michelle, I think that's our next interview.